What is happening? Perry Comics, the man who doesn't sleep, number one in the chat, number one hanging out, dropping comments. What's going on? Happy Saturday, Perry. I hope you're watching something fun today with your hardcore protein breakfast you were sharing on Instagram with us. I hope things are going well for you. As people come jumping in, welcome to Saturday Morning Comics. I'm John from John's Comics with Kids. This is the Saturday show I do irregularly now that I have teenagers and not kids, and they have so many sporting events and they like to sleep late and their bedrooms are, in proximity to where I do these videos. So, they can get very cranky. Watch out for early morning teens. But yes, this is the Saturday show talking about whatever we're reading, whatever we're watching, whatever's going on. So join us for the next hour. Really just me, because I doubt anybody's going to wake up. All my ladies are asleep. Even the female cat is asleep. All the women are asleep. It's just me. It was definitely not me on the thumbnail, JP, but let's say hello to the chat. We got some people hanging in. We had some tailgaters, including my man, TM Nerdy, who hit 1,000 subscribers and had some big giveaways recently. Huge congrats to you, Travis. Well earned. And he says this season was freaking fantastic. Read the next season will be a Jack solo story. Definitely going to talk a lot of Reacher here, especially at the end of this episode. We're going to go through and kind of look at the other books and what other options they could choose, because I agree. Spoiler-free review here at the beginning. It's good. You should watch it. Both seasons are on Amazon Prime, and we're almost all in this country, at least, Amazon Prime members. So almost everybody just has access. You should check it out. Good, violent fun. We got Shop in the chat. He says he's got to watch the finale, but both seasons have been fire, and I agree. Well said. We got Perry in the chat, who was live for like 3 hours last night talking about which has the better controller, PlayStation or Xbox. Leave your comments in the chat. I have neither. What is up, Las Cruces from New Mexico? Things are going well, I hope, for you. Jim is in the chat. Digger Jim, who digs in long boxes and in the dirt to find valuable pieces of metal and then does cool things with them. If you guys aren't following Digger Jim, I've been like catching on the sly videos, and I do need to leave more comments, Jim, but I've been catching his videos on the sly. Really, really great, man. We got Steve, Captain Comics Ahoy, sir. I hope you and Smiley Tori are doing well. Your Saturday's off to a good start. Haven't started season 2. You are a slacker, but JP, as I often say when somebody tells me, I haven't read that yet, I haven't had time, whatever, you just have something good to look forward to. That's all that means. Something good waiting for you to find. That's all it really means. I rarely feel like the chat is bumping and Perry and I are the only two agreeing, but I'm sure it'll come up at some point today that I did not love Ultimate Spider-Man like everybody else did. Seems like Perry is on the same page with me. I'm not saying I hated it. I am saying that if Marco Cicchetto had not drawn it, I would have hated it. If Marco Cicchetto had not drawn that book, it would have been like a 5 out of 10 for me. Marco Cicchetto saved that book from being, what is it, Perry? Hot doo-doo water? What is going on? So absolutely agree with this, JP. And I do think the beauty of the current show, not the Tom Cruise movies, is that they picked my 2 favorite books for the first 2 seasons of the show. So were I to recommend, and I will at the end, which books people should read to dive into the Reacher universe, I would say start with Killing Floor, the original book, and then jump to Bad Luck and Trouble, which is the 2nd season of the show, because both of them are what you want. That's exactly what you need. What is going on? Terry from Bronze Page. What's going on? Happy Saturday. We got the Reverend himself, Reverend Bleeker, in the chat. What is going on? If you guys don't go to church on Sundays like you should, you're missing out. I try to pop in and say a couple of prayers, a couple of Hail Marys, a couple of amens, because I know I want to get right with the comic gods, and that's where you go, Bleecker Street. So I'm going to run through, as I always do, the new comics I've been reading, the new books I've been picking up, because my pull list has shrunk considerably, but thankfully, I'm only doing this show once every 3 weeks. I got a few books I can talk about because it's not like next week. Legitimately, next week, I'm picking up this many books. That's a zero. That's no fingers are being held up there. No comics next week. There's a couple I will read digitally, and I can talk a little bit about that, but not buying any single new issues next week, and it feels good. All right, let's talk about this week in comics and last week in comics. Obviously, I'm reading the end of Hickman's era. And I say that in the sense that it's the Krakoan era that he birthed. And now we'll have Rise and Power of the Powers of 10 and the Fall of the House of X. I loved this cover. Really great dynamic Gambit and Mystique cover. And I love that she's popping Wolverine's claws. So cool. It's a wild ride. I'm enjoying it. It's a wild ride, but I'm sad to see it coming to an end. I've mixed emotions and mixed feelings about it in general. JB says the nice thing about Reacher is that while technically there is an order to the books, you can read it in any particular order. I agree. And there's ultimately like 3 choices, right? You can read it in published order. You can read it in chronological order because the books skip around in his life, right? Or you can read it at your own free will, right? And there's none of those choices are wrong. None of them are bad, right? So that's where it is. I am with X-Men right now. In 2024, my plan is to read the 2 sort of finale miniseries, House and Powers, and just kind of finish it out. And then there's a couple of one-shots that I believe will get thrown in here and there that I might read as well. But I don't think that I will read more than 12. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I don't think I will purchase more than 12 single issue X titles in this 2024. Now, it is contingent on the creative teams they announce starting in July, I think is when they're going to kick off the new series, July or August. If they announce Jeff Lemire or they announce, some amazing talent that I'm a big, big fan of, obviously I'm going to walk this statement back significantly, but I don't think it's going to happen. Here's a crazy, bold prediction for you. Right now, Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are not signed to anything. I'm not saying it's a lock, but I'm saying I'm sure they're on the list of people that Marvel would be happy to, get a hooks into to do something big. And what's bigger right now, it's starting in Marvel this summer than that. So I'm not saying it's a lock, but I'm saying I'm sure they're on the list. But personally, for me, if they sign those guys, I'm walking. I'm just walking right now. Walking. Yeah. I'm done with Marvel for the foreseeable future. We got Carlito Classico, one of my favorite friends, one of the best movie talking guys. Good to see you, my man. He says, never read the books, but I hear the TV show is good. I don't watch much TV right now, considering checking it out. If you've got Amazon Prime, and really, which Americans don't anymore, you got a treat waiting for you, my man. You will absolutely love it. The G spot in the chat. What's going on, Robert? Do you have a show today, Robert? If you do, remind us what time so that everybody is there, because I believe it it immediately follows this show, so people should jump from one to the next. It's join all the good fun. What X-Men would you like to see in Deadpool 3, John? It's a great question, Steve. I think that Deadpool 3 is probably just going to be like a one-off. So I don't know that I want to waste great characters. They'll use characters as a joke and they'll use them as a gag, but I don't think that this is going to be a movie that launches anything. I think this is a finale more than it is a jumping on point. So I just want them to have a good story and have fun with it. Cause that's what finishing the Deadpool trilogy with something really quality is kind of what we want. I don't think we're going to get anything from it going forward. I doubt anything comes out of this movie that is ongoing. It sounds like Ryan Reynolds is even done, but maybe I'm reading into it wrong. What is up, Dale? Dale of Suspense is in the chat. Hope you're doing well. What else we got? We got Grandmaster. What is going on? Ooh. Don't crash down on me. So that was my only Marvel book. I bought 3 single issue DC books this week. Let's talk a little bit about them. First up, I got the next issue in Green Lantern War Journal. This is by Philip Kennedy Johnson, and it stars John Stewart, my favorite Green Lantern, and it's been a pretty decent read. This is the book I'm on the fence about. I missed issue 3, I think. I don't have issue 3. I've read it digitally, I believe. I don't know if my LCS just ran out of it, but I didn't love 4. I do really like 5. It is introducing a sort of zombie invasion of Earth, and John and a few Green Lanterns are trying to stop it. But the powerful story is that John is a very different type of Green Lantern now, because it's like he's imbued with the power, and he doesn't need a ring. He doesn't need to recharge. He's a very different Lantern, and it's kind of interesting to see how it impacts his life. Specifically his mother, who has Alzheimer's, and he's always trying to like be there for her, and then also, save Earth from time to time. So this is a very entertaining issue. I'm happy to have it. Let's get to one I really was disappointed in. JP, man, I don't want to spoil your joy, because I know you and I love Nightwing and love Tom Taylor. They're jumping from the pirate story, which I could love, knowing that it was like, oh, it was just a short thing, whatever. And they're going straight into a DC event, the Beast Wars event or whatever. I don't want another event. I just want a good Nightwing story. So this just feels like, what did they do? Night Terrors. And then before that, it was the Batman City one, right? City at War, whatever. What was it called? I don't remember. The worst Nightwing issues every year are the damn tie-ins. I love the cover. The cover is really cool. Werewolf Batman. Like, I'm down with the horror cover of it all, but like, good God, that was annoying. That was annoying. I wasn't expecting it to be a tie-in. I don't know where my brain was. I'm so out of it on tie-ins and events these days. I just avoid those stories in general. But yeah, very disappointed. Ugh. Okay, so Robert Galvin is going on at 12 Central, 1 Eastern. So that is, track that up, 11 o'clock my time. So be there for it. I think I blew that, actually. I think it's 10 o'clock my time. And I just did that math again. See, it's early. Let me drink a little. I'll have a little something. All right, I'm back. So yeah, be there for Robert Galvin's show in an hour and 20 minutes-ish. Super Russ 9000 is going for 9,000 subscribers. It's like he's playing the long goal here, and he's got some things he's willing to give away. But if we keep shouting him out, he keeps dropping that fire content. He's going to be there before you know it. Jim says he passed on the Beast story, so this issue is blah. Yeah, exactly. Well said. Agree. Just make some great stories. I miss used events. Used to be less, but yeah, I mean, events are what they are, and it's hard to navigate around them, because it's kind of the methodology du jour these days. And yeah, disappointing. What is up, Scotty? Good to see you, Scotty. He's always dropping great videos and having fun on YouTube. So good to see you, my man. He says the Titans tie-in was awful last week because they tried to move the main story and deal with the tie-in. It was all over the place and terrible. Disappointing. Grandmaster says, what do you think of Snyder and Capullo's Batman Last Night on Earth? I read the first 2 issues and I thought it was absolutely bonkers and I hated it. So, but I mean, I am generally find the biggest Snyder fan, and I am the opposite of that, whatever that is. I've read, legitimately, I think I've read 2 trades of his work that I ever liked across everything he has ever done in all time in history. And even those 2, I think, are overrated. And that would be obviously Court of Owls and City of Owls. I don't even like, what was the next one? The Death of the Family. I thought it was, I don't want Joker cutting his own face off. Like, what the heck is that? What is that story? And how do we even resolve that so we get a normal Joker back after that? Like, what? the resolution of that and getting, it was just awful. Like, cut it out. Don't want any of it. Don't want any of it. So I'm a Snyder. I know I don't want to say hater, but I guess JP's like, yeah, you are. You're a hater. I'm probably a Snyder hater. I'm a Snyder snob. How's that? Snyder snob. That's better alliteration. But let's get to the book of the week. Let's get to the book of the week, the new comic that I thought was a home run. And I'm sad that a community member who I truly love is not in the chat, because he would be jumping up and down and twirling his lasso around because it was definitely the new issue of Wonder Woman by Tom King. And I got that Tedesco cover because, I mean, because this book's great. And it has been great for the first 5 issues. It was one of my favorite DC books last year, even though they only dropped 4 issues. And somebody mentioned to my friend Magic Lasso that this was the best issue that they've done so far. And I don't know if I would say that, but it is at least tied with it. It is absolutely phenomenal, this book. And has been all along, like, has been great, and has great interior artwork. Let me see if I can find some good interior pages with, obviously, you got Yara Flor. This was great because they had the Wonder Women, all of them together. You got, obviously, you have Diana, and you've got Cassie, and you've got Yara, and you've got Donna. So you get all of them together. I just love it. I just love it. Give me more of this. Sign me up. They all have their distinct attitudes and personalities. They're really well and clearly defined, which I think is something writers often struggle with, is to give each of those ladies a distinct enough personality. And they hit it. They hit the nail on the head, and they're setting up something very exciting while at the same time not boring us with exposition. This was really excellent. So I hope a bunch of you picked it up and are reading it. And I'll get to my favorite part of it in just a second, because I got some other awesome people in the chat, like Highland Low Roller. What's going on? Crashdown. Fire Guy Ryan and Comic Tom's book comes out this coming Wednesday. So cruise by your shop. Let them know you want a copy. Whatever you got to do, make it happen. JP says Black Mirror was solid, but yes, otherwise you were right about Snyder. I have not read, maybe I did read Black Mirror. I can't remember. Obviously, it left a strong impression. Very strong impression. What is up, Steve White? I saw him in and out of chats, and he's leaving comments on videos all across YouTube. So what a great supporter. Much appreciated you, sir. And he loved Wonder Woman as well. I think it's hard not to. It's just expertly done. I know Tom King has his haters, and it's mostly because his ongoing Batman series was really uneven. But if you're willing to put Batman aside and just say, hey, it has some good issues and whatever, his other stuff is pretty freaking great. We got Scotty saying, I grabbed that same cover. Yes. Tedesco and Scotty, maybe you agree or disagree. Tedesco, one of the best and most underrated like variant artists for me right now. I feel like if he does a cover, and for those that don't know, I always look, if you see the little double T's, I'm sorry, I'm not the double, you know what, of Wonder Woman, but his logo is a circle with 2 T's inside of it. Tedesco. I'm going to struggle with his name. I always spot his name and I'm like, yes, I want to get that book. So for me, that's what it was all about. And I love Yara too. Yara's great. She's used really well in the book. I'm a Donna Troy fan first because I was a Teen Titans kid growing up. Cassie, I know probably least of all, but yeah, just fun. The joys of my every other week delivery of comics is I'm a week away from being able to read it, but you got something to look forward to. Shop did not have that cover, but the story is awesome. It's fun how she wanted a traditional contest, right? Yeah. The contests were the best part for sure. Well, Boar, what is going on, my brother? I hope you are doing well. Happy Saturday. Sheena is in the chat. Happy Saturday. We're just talking Wonder Woman, and there's a Wonder Woman in our chat. That is perfect. She does. She's ripped, man. She's ripped. She is ripped. Aggro, what is going on? I'm glad to see so many of you are reading it. It's really, really good. So that is wonderful to hear. Voice. I don't know what that means, but maybe I'm too close to the thing. Steve White has fun content at Comics with the Voice channel. Can someone who has a wrench drop that link? Because I'm going to want to come back later and subscribe to that. That would be fantastic. And Steve, if I haven't subscribed already, I'm sorry that I was not aware of that, my man. I've just been following you in the chat, just chasing you around from YouTube to YouTube the last few days. But so let's talk a little bit about what happens in this. The plot of this is dual. You've got the villain, Sergeant Steele, is putting together a team of superpowered villains that he believes will help him defeat Wonder Woman. And on the other side, Wonder Woman is trying to convince the other Wonder Girls and Wonder Women not to join her side because she's worried they'll die. So you've kind of got these wonderful yin-yang pieces where the villain is sort of capturing a group of Suicide Squad kind of villains together and luring them in with threats of violence to her. And she is trying to protect her flock by competing in battles of contest of strength and whatever, so that each one of them, if they are beaten, has to agree not to join the fight. So it's a wonderful back and forth. Yara chooses archery, Cassie chooses physical strength, and Donna keeps her contest a mystery. Donna does not let in on what it is that she wants to compete with Diana in. And so you get to see Diana and these other Wonder Women head to head in all these little competitions. Very funny, some of them. The conversation's very entertaining, but watching them arm wrestle or fire arrows, or in the case of Donna, I'm going to show you, if you don't want to be spoiled, I understand. I won't completely ruin it. Donna knows I can't beat Diana with stuff she's done, but I can beat her in a video game. And I have DC's Best Superheroes video game, and I'm going to pick Batman, and Diana can pick Superman, and we're going to battle in a video game. And the winner of the video game wins this contest of champions. It is hilarious to watch Donna and Diana play a video game and compete Batman versus Superman, and then not only discuss their relationship, but discuss why Batman versus Superman is so entertaining and the realities behind it, as Diana is somebody that is close to both Bruce and Clark and understands the two of them, but has never played a video game before in her life. It's very entertaining, and I don't want to spoil how it ends and how this comes out and what happens at the end, because there's several twists all the way through the issue. But that concept of the video game battle between Diana and Donna was the highlight for me and easily made this the read of the week. So just phenomenal. And JP, thank you for dropping the link to Comics of the Voice. You can search it probably too, Comics of the Voice. And I will definitely be subscribing if I have not already at the end of the show when I go back through. So thank you for doing that, JP. He says, my channel's only 2 months old. It's all about comics, no politics. There you go. That's the best. I just want to hear about the stories and what we think about the stories, right? So really, really great. Highly recommend it. We're on issue 5. If you've got the DC app, I believe you'll have 2 or 3 of them already loaded, because I think they do a 3-month, they're 3 months behind whatever's on the shelf new. Marvel, I think, does 6 months. So really, really great book that you can catch up on using the app if you've got that, or if you just read digitally and you want to do that. Aggro was talking about how Tom King used to work for the CIA. And really looking forward to his Batman doing a modern spy thing, but he ended up doing an airport romance novel instead, which is fine. But Wonder Woman gets the international intrigue, right? And that's a great point that a lot of people don't know necessarily about King and how his relationship with the United States government and how that plays into a little bit of the, the PTSD stuff that he likes to include in his story, or just the impact of violence, as well as the people instigating that violence. I think it's important topic that sort of seeps its way into everything he does. Most beautifully, things like, Mr. Miracle, just really, really great. And then, of course, the Superwoman, what was it called? Superwoman, Girl of Tomorrow, or Woman of Tomorrow, something like that. I can't remember the like hyphenated title, but very good. I love Donna. My favorite super looking forward to. Sorry, my favorite super quote. Not period. I think he meant looking forward to this new issue. Yeah, good. And it's setting up what looks to be more usage of these other characters, because up to now it's been a focus on Diana and the other lasso, because we have Diana's lasso of truth and we have the lasso of what I think is the lasso of lies, and this sneaky organization that's using this to manipulate people. So it's been a lot of and Sergeant Steele is part of that group. It's been a lot of Diana and Steele, but I think we're starting to build out towards maybe some of the other DC characters that might be joining us. Woman of it was Woman of Tomorrow. Okay, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. That's where I was messing it up right there. The Sovereign is the best IP series release in years. I don't think I've read that one. Highland Low Roller. Sorry, I don't think I've read that one yet. I'll have to look for that one. Sorry, we got Shop. What's up, Shop? Let me load my overlay here. Where's my guy? There he is, John Doom. What is going on? Welcome to the Shopverse. Shop has just been pumping out some great stuff, man. If you guys are not following Shop, I don't know what's going on. You're missing out on some goodies. I was just gonna say. In the armed forces for 4 years. Thank you for your service, man. That's fantastic. I hope it was as meaningful to you or for you as it seems to be for a lot of people that serve their country like that. Let's see what's up, chat. Well, Boar's in here. Okay, so those were my single issues. I'm gonna put Wonder Woman back in the bag here. I want to protect my cover, my Tedesco cover. Totino Tedesco. I think I said it right that time. So I got that. So those are my single issues for this week and technically for next week as well, because I'm not buying any. I also read like Cobra Commander. I read that. I'm trying to stay up on the Energon universe, even though I freely admit I have not. Oop, I froze up there for a second. I froze up. Sorry, gang. I'm going to close some windows. Maybe that'll keep me from freezing up again. I get blipped for a bit. I have not loved the Energon universe, but I don't hate it either. It's just kind of like, all right, it's entertaining. It's there. So I'm up on Transformers. I'm up on Duke. And now I'm up on Commander. I'm just kind of reading them. I am getting Crashdown next week. It comes out on Wednesday, and I'm going to try to get that David Mack cover and maybe one other one. I know they did the variant that's the movie poster for Event Horizon, which is a movie that I really like. So I may try to snag that one as well. There's a few cool variants, though, for sure. I will definitely be getting it. Don't worry. Not to worry. I also wanted to obliquely mention I'm not an Ultimate Spider-Man fan. This new Ultimate Spider-Man, I'll probably like the Energon books. I'll keep reading it digitally, but I'm not going to buy any of them. I love the original Bendis Ultimate Spider-Man. I like Miles Morales. This felt like Ultimate Scarlet Spider to me. Way too much Ben Reilly for my taste. Like, I don't even know that Peter Parker was in there. Was Peter Parker in that book? It was like every time I turned the page, it's like, oh, hey, Ben Reilly's talking to J. Jonah Jameson again. Awesome. Are they the main characters of this book? What's going on here? I don't get it. I will say my favorite part was the Chichetto artwork was gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. I love his Daredevil stuff. I'm so glad he's got another ongoing book because he's just so talented. But that's the only thing that kept that book from it gave it a passing grade. Was the only thing. And it is, yeah. Go sell you should, if you have a copy of this book, you should sell it now. You will be able to buy it back in a year and be fine. You will be able to buy this book back at cover price in a year. I'm just telling you. JP would probably say the same, but I won't put words in his mouth. If you can sell this book for $40 or whatever that cover A is going for, do it. Do it. There are thousands of these out there, thousands and thousands and thousands across our country. You will be able to get it back for cover price in a year. You should sell it. Do it. Do it. You'll cover your next week's new comic books just by selling that one book. So I don't think it's trash. I just think it's not very good. And I will read more of it just because I have love for Jonathan Hickman and I have a hope that he can turn it around. And the Chichetto artwork is beautiful. It's just not what I legitimately had a couple to 3 or 4 people maybe tell me that it was going to be their book of the year. Gonna let that sort of hyperbole soak in a little bit there. Taste that I got something better to taste in my mouth because that was not good. Maybe for someone not reading a ton of other books, it was the book of the week. It's not for me. It's not the book of the month, and it will not be the book of the year. I mean, I don't know how amazing the next 11 issues would have to be to make that the read of the year. Like, whew. And hey, if I'm eating my words next January, awesome. Because that means that Hickman's done something spectacular and we're all on board with it. But I doubt it. Lo dudo, as they say in Spanish. It was going for $30 a week ago, and I think it went up again, but I don't think it went up a ton. So I think it was in that 30 to 40 range. Yeah, it was crazy. Buck Wild. All right. I have 5 collected editions that are new to my collection that I want to go through. That includes 2 omnibus, 2 hardcover collected editions, and 1 trade paperback. I've shared a few of them on Instagram, but I don't think I've shared any of them here. I made a TikTok that was my first ever TikTok rule violations. Like I got banned. I didn't get banned. They took the video down because my video within seconds, it was an algorithm thing. Clearly they said I violated their content creator, whatever regulations. So I'm going to show you why I think I did, but I'll share it here to start this off. I believe I got hit for Savage Dragon Volume 2, the second hardcover from Image Comics. This is the original, like, first few issues when they launched it in the 90s. So Volume 1 goes through issue 8. Volume 2 goes through issue 21. Volume 1 also includes the miniseries and some tie-in series and some other stuff. So it's all in there. Here's why I think I got hit. On the back, everything is perfectly kosher except that this young lady's top is incredibly revealing. Now, she's wearing a cover. She's not like, scantily clad. But as you can even probably see, you can see through the top a little bit, maybe. I think I got hit because of her. I mean, hey, do what you got to do, TikTok. I get it. But I think that's why that video got taken down. I'm a big Savage Dragon fan. I've got Volume 1. I didn't even realize Volume 2 had dropped, but I saw it on In-Stock Trades thanks to my man, JP. So there you go. Be careful posting the back of Savage Dragon Volume 2. This video might crash. I might just get shut down. You don't know. Went for 40 plus. One went for $65. If you can sell your Ultimate Spider-Man issue 1 for $65, you better do it. Get that sucker on eBay and get it gone. $65. There are so many tens of thousands of copies of that book and all the variants and all the online exclusives. You will get it back for cover price at the end of the year. I promise you. Sell that. Is that Eric in the chat? What's up? SideQuest Comics. Happy Saturday. Agro says, the Ultimate Spider-Man started out fun, but I remember what happened last time and what exactly are we going to do in that universe that they couldn't get away with in 616. I loved the original, and I think it was 24 trades. I have the 12 oversized hardcovers. The original Bendis Bagley, I loved it. And then, of course, it segued into Miles Morales, and I loved that stuff too. I just don't think this is ever going to come close to that, but, I guess. Whatever. Those are great. Though I would say those will have a higher value next year than Ultimate Spider-Man 1 will. But bold statement by Mr. John here. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know anything. So I got the next Savage Dragon. This is the trade that I picked up. This is Paul Dini and Eduardo Rizzo's Dark Knight. I've heard a lot of great things, especially from like Bearded Comic Bro and Fire Guy Ryan, I believe. This, for those that don't know, is the true story of Paul Dini's mugging. Paul Dini, classic Batman animated series and regular series talent. And one day when he was, I believe, walking home late at night, he was mugged. And it was incredibly challenging for him physically, psychologically, because he was seriously injured. And he wrote a book allowing him to kind of purge some of those emotions and ask the question, where was Batman when I needed him? So it's a Batman book kind of without Batman. He's looming over it, but he's not really in it. It's autobiographical in nature, and it's more about the psychology of where Paul Dini was in the years that followed this very traumatic, violent event in his life. So I heard great things. Really, really excited to kind of hear about it. And it was published through Vertigo as part of the DC, Vertigo line. So I had never read it, and they had it. I think it was like $9 on in-stock trades. So I just sort of threw that in. We have Phil's Treehouse. Phil, what is going on? I hope you're having a great Saturday. If you're starting to plan when your shows are coming back, you can drop a date for us and let us know so that we are there and subscribed and ready to watch whenever you're dropping new content again. I have a Marvel baggage-free new beginning. I like a Marvel baggage-free new beginning. Okay, I get what you're saying, Phil. A chance to relaunch a title and let people jump on who've never read said book. And I think that's ultimately the challenge of comics, isn't it? In some ways, you're talking about balancing old and new readers. And anything made for just one group is probably not going to last very long. You've got to tell a story for both, right? It's got to be something where new readers can kind of find a way in, and old readers will feel like this is something I'm enjoying. That's a tough balance, right? Because not a lot of books hit a home run on both of those topics. I would say this Wonder Woman run is a good example of doing both. And I think it's tricky. And you can see why books like X-Men titles struggle with this, right? Because the continuity is huge in the X-Men universe, and the cast of characters is enormous. And so the expectation coming in is that you'll know a lot of these characters. So they generally treat and reward older fans more than they reward like fresh new readers trying to find a way in. So yeah, it's tricky. That's the tricky balance of this medium, because it is both long and short form storytelling at the same time. Grandmaster, yes, I'm reading Something is Killing the Children in trade. So I'm probably 2 or 3 trades behind where they are currently. But yeah, I've been reading it. It's very good. Very good. All right. I'm going to go to my last hardcover before the Omnis that I got. I got a new edition of Watchmen. This is it's an anniversary edition, I believe. The deluxe edition. Let me open this up because I'm curious what's in it. I got this because thanks to my dad, actually. Every Christmas, Let me put my Reggie Collects blade over here. Every Christmas, my dad buys, he buys books and reads a ton all year long. And then he puts them out at Christmas time for the adults to pick and choose, like a library almost, to take one home. He bought a sealed deluxe edition of Watchmen, and I was like, I'll take that because I have an older trade that I can give away to somebody. And now I've got a beautiful, nice hardcover edition. Let's see what we got here. See if it's got anything special on the inside. I haven't yet to actually crack this open, so this is kind of fun. It's got a Dave Gibbons letter at the beginning, and then it just dives right into the comic. Let's see what's at the end. Does it have anything special at the end? So don't worry, I've read it before. I'm not spoiled by this at all. Let's see. They've got... Oh, so they got some sketches and some elements at the back on, where they were going with these ideas and how they were evolving between Gibbons and Allen. Let's see here. Ooh. Yeah. So if you're not some people aren't an Alan Moore fan, and I get it. He's not for everybody, but obviously V for Vendetta and this are, iconic for certain. You can see them going through their process of scripting and then planning and all that kind of stuff. This is easily Alan Moore's masterpiece. Personally, I just recently did. It's called Top 10. I think is another one of his Vertigo books, and I really enjoyed that as well. Especially the original volume. The first volume of Top 10 was really, really great. And I think I thought they had some covers at the back here as well. Let's see what we got. Yeah, here's one of the alternate sort of covers, or at least like early sketched covers. And let's see what else we got. A sketch of a Watchmen spinoff by Neil Gaiman, Watch Dogs. McGruff the crime dog as Rorschach, and a little note at the bottom from Neil saying, "Dear Dave, I'm down at a San Francisco writers conference near looks like Bournemouth. Anyways, he doodled the above following our panel discussion. Hope life is fine and fun from Neil Gaiman." That's kind of cool. He sent that off to Dave Gibbons. So there you go. I'm excited to kind of next time I dive into rereading Watchmen, I'm going to do this fun hardcover version. I hear you also, I was sneezing this morning. My allergies are going. I hear you also like music. I mean, I technically would argue that movies, music, books, everybody hopefully likes them, but everyone has their niche or how many niches they're in those kinds of things. I'm a little stunted on music because I'm not a big concert fan. I've only been to probably 2 concerts in my life. I'm not a big, but I certainly love, listening and a sound. I grew up with movies as my love. So like soundtracks to movies, a big fan of all those kind of things for sure. Trades for Something They Kill in Children is the way to go. Save so much more that way. You don't have to track them. Been doing that for the wife who doesn't care about variants. It's also like for that book in particular, and maybe you don't agree, it reads so quickly, right? Like you could read a single issue in like 5 minutes. Like it's so art heavy, and not in a bad way. Reading it in trade at least feels like you're savoring it a little more. My preference. What is up, Dope Comics? Happy Saturday to you. He just dropped a video talking about some complaints about where modern comic YouTubing seems to be going. Some similar things that I've felt about, being spec heavy, being money heavy, not being story heavy. I think those are my biggest takeaways from what his video was saying, because I've felt that for a long time. And I felt it my responsibility as a consumer of that to only really follow channels that offered some reading discussions. It's fine. Like it's fine if they're still doing the occasional, spec related content, but as long as the focus has reading included, and so I've cut a lot of channels out of my life that I just felt like were not giving me the joy of comic story that I wanted. And I don't need to agree with people's reviews. I love Lost in Comics Chris, and he and I disagree all the time on what kinds of books we like to pick up and what we're reading. Chris has very different taste from me, but I adore his channel because I know he's reading all these things. He's giving his heart and soul into these reviews. And when I disagree with him, we have a laugh about it and we move on. There's no animosity at all. It's a ton of joy. And I love hearing those kind of perspectives, even when we disagree. So that kind of stuff, I'm trying to feed that into my algorithm, both on Instagram and YouTube, because I think it matters most. It totally does. What is going on? The real dope. What's going on? Old Wolf Tony. I'm sure he's doing his chores around the house, keeping himself busy. Carlito jumps in. I knew when the discussion around music scores for movies came out, I said a little something. I knew this guy would jump in. I knew it. I'm so glad. You can't lurk on me, buddy. Can't lurk. And of course, he's a Hans Zimmer fan. Yeah, obviously, yeah, super talented guy for sure. Look at all these people jumping in here. Holy cow. I got Trev, the shipping guru. What's going on, Trev? Happy Saturday. What's going on? Carson's in the chat. What's up, Seawood? Good to see you, my friend. People just jumping in here. Yeah, so if you missed Dope's video, he might trigger you. He might trigger you, but that's just his opinion. You don't have to, take it to heart. You don't have to be hurt by it. And he was, I disagreed with some things and I agreed with other things because the truth is, I don't want to watch edited videos as much. I don't usually go in for that. I want to go to a live stream. I'm very much like the great legend Robert. I want to be in a chat with friends. So I don't mind a super long live stream, even if it's scatterbrained and all over the place. I prefer that to a 2-minute tightly edited spec video. Like pass, swipe. You're right. You're welcome, John. When jump on every, I don't even know what that means. You're welcome, John. I got that part. When jump on everyone does. Okay. Good to know. Tony, I ordered Garrison Brothers Guadalupe 2024. Ooh, yum. Fancy. That's my life. That's mine too. All right. So I got 2 Omnis to share, and then I want to dive into Jack Reacher because I know it was my thumbnail and I've kind of like dragged my feet through this a little bit. So I'm going to go with the one I posted yesterday on Instagram. I don't love this cover, although I do love seeing all the sort of characters that you're here for represented here. The cartoony art on the cover is not my favorite, but I do love the Claremont stuff, man. So this is one of my 12 grails, I guess. No, let's not do that word. Let's not use that word. One of the 12 books I was hunting for this calendar year. I wanted this. This is the only omnibus I had on my list for this year. And I just wanted a collected edition of the entire Claremont Ms. Marvel run. And it was out of print and then JP again mentioned, hey, I just saw an in-stock trade. They have a new cover for that omnibus and they're sort of reprinting it. So I went on, I saw it. I looked at the cover for a while and I thought, do I want to just hunt down and way overpay for that? Or do I want to drop, what was it? I think it was $60, $60. I could get the whole thing right now. And on my shelf, it'll look fine. Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel, a hero is born. And there she is in her Ms. Marvel costume on my shelf. That's what I'm going to see. That's what really sold me on it in the end, was like, that's all I'm going to see. The rest of it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. So let's see what it collects. 1 through 23, the original run that Claremont did on Ms. Marvel. And then Marvel Team Up 61 and 62, which were tie-ins to that. And then 76 and 77. The Defenders issues 57, which I've never read. Marvel 2-in-1 51. Marvel Superheroes 10 and 11, which I have read, which are basically the first time that the unfinished issues that would have finished the Ms. Marvel run get published. The stuff that they canceled. And then material from Avengers 97 and 99, Avengers Annual 10, and Marvel Fanfare 24. So lots of goodies here. Not a massive omnibus, an easy one to read from. It's not the Immortal Hulk, which is probably double this. Really, really great. I have recently, you know what? I'm going to open it. I'm going to do it because this is high on my list of things to read from my next Marvel. When I get to my next Marvel omnibus, because I think I'm going to do Sandman next, volume 2. I have only read volume 1 of those omnis. So I'm going to take a break from Marvel omnibus for a little bit. But when I go back, I think this is going to be the top of my list. Okay. I got a little bit of a dent here in this corner. Let me see if it's hurting the book at all. No, it's just the dust jacket. That's too bad. I don't care. So there it is, all bold and beautiful. Let's take a look on the inside. I'm not going to take the time to stretch it out right now. If you're not sure on how to stretch your omnis, hit me up. I've got a video here in one of my shorts that shows you how to do that. Let's see. From 1977 all the way to 1986. You got some good Bronze Age love here. Yeah, so good. Fighting the Scorpion. Love it. Yeah. I mean, it just gives me all the vibes. It gives me all the good Bronze Age vibes. This, by the way, is the issue that No Good Comics dad did the Ghost Rider story on, Marvel Superheroes 11, I think it is. Is it Marvel Superheroes 80 page? I think it's issue 11 of the 2. I can't remember. But it's got 3 stories, and one of them is this really great Ms. Marvel story, where they're finally printing the stories of how that story would have ended. And the Rogue, taking her powers kind of stuff. So really pumped on this. Beautiful, beautiful. Love it. Add that to the collection. All right. Last one. I have not read any of this, but I've heard so many good things about Batwoman, specifically the J.H. Williams and what's his name? W. Hayden Blackman and Greg Rucka run. And my LCS, every once in a while when they buy a collection and they get a bunch of omnibus, will sell them for 50% off or more. And they had this omnibus for 50% off, or maybe it was 60% off. So instead of $100, I must have paid $40 or something. And I was like, this is a deal. And I want to read it. And I don't have the DC app at this point. I had the older one before they revamped. So I definitely wanted to get a copy of this. It's definitely, I don't think it's in print anymore, JP. So I just was lucky to get one that was already sealed, which was fantastic for such a great deep discount. And it all went to my shop. And yeah, so now I get to check this out, which I've heard, again, a ton of great things. If you read it, let me know. But I know that I've had several people tell me that they really love this run. And I know almost nothing about the character. So for me, this will be my first time diving into that character's world, learning a little bit about Batwoman. Let me scroll back up. Scrolling. I know I missed a bunch of great comments, so I'm going to catch people up. I want to do lives, but I need 3 people to play instruments as co-hosts, late night style. Oh, so you need like somebody hitting the rim shot for you. You need those. You need the, what is it? They had the robot on that one channel. Yeah, we'll help you out. JP says I need to get that Omni as well. I got it from In Stock Trades, the Ms. Marvel one. Thanks to JP. So I checked one of my 12 things off my list, but it is on In Stock Trades, so you can get it there. Eric says, I got to finish that run. Almost done. I need like 5 issues. That's phenomenal. It's a great short run, 23 issues. I don't even think there's an annual. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Obviously, the Mystique issues, and there's 3 of them, can be a little pricey, but I think they've all come way down in value. So you can definitely get something really good. Trev is offering to play the bagpipes. There we go. Didn't know that there was an Omni for Batwoman. Yes, there is. Shop saying good deal. Yeah, I mean, I love when my LCS gets a big stack of Omnis, they'll post them on their Instagram. And I'm always like scouring through to see, ooh, can I get this one for a good price? Can I buy that one? Right. Did you read the original Captain Marvel? I loved the Starlin issues in the 70s. I think you would enjoy that run. I've read, let me see, I've read like, I've definitely not read the entire thing. I think I've just read a couple here and there. And of course, I've read the Death of Captain Marvel graphic novel. I have that. But I definitely haven't read all of them. That's obvious. For those who don't know, that's where Carol's first appearances are before she has powers. That's when you would first find her. Seawood says, I really enjoyed the Rucka Batman stuff. I wonder if that Omni has some of the stories from the 52. Well, let's check it out. Let's check it out, my brother. It says, this collects Detective Comics 854 through 863, Batwoman New 52 0. So there you go. And then Batwoman 0 through 24 and Batwoman Annual 1. So you get a little bit of everything going on there. I hope that clears it up for you. It lists Greg Rucka, Hayden Blackman, J.H. Williams, Trevor McCarthy, and Amy Reeder as the talent involved in this omnibus, just so you know. Let's see. I've only been to Golden Apple one time. I went to visit a friend up in LA and he wanted to go and I'd never been. So that was the only time I've been there, but it was really cool. I got a G.I. Joe final issue of G.I. Joe when I was there. Thanks, Steve. I love Rucka. He has a short Ray novel that makes all the Star Wars sequels have much more. Well, that's good to know. Somebody can fix some of that in continuity stuff. Yeah, Greg Rucka is great. I had the lucky opportunity to interview him for an online, like a digital comic book convention. It was a late night show and it was me and Comics Misexplained. And he and I were just basically doing like a late night 2-hour live stream, and every 30 minutes or so we would have a new guest come on, and Greg was one of the people that joined us, and he was absolutely amazing. He was stellar. Just really had some great comments to make, and he had some books he wanted to talk about. His show hadn't launched on Netflix, the one with I can't remember what it was called. He had an indie book that he had written about like these characters who are immortal and the battles that they have, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but it was a good show. I haven't read the comic, but it was a cool show. And he was in the midst of kind of the post-production, I want to say, on that. And had some really cool anecdotes and stories to tell, and really enjoyed. Yeah, just a really great person. Really cool. All right, comic talk is over. I want to move on to talk a little bit about the point of all of this stuff, the thumbnail that I teased you with. I want to talk about Jack Reacher, the character, the novels, the really mediocre movies, and the really phenomenal TV show on Amazon Prime. So we're gonna roll into all of that stuff here. Spend a little time in that world. If you're new to it, I'll give you great jumping on points. If you're a veteran, it's a great chance for you to throw out your favorites and your thoughts. I know JP's read a bunch. I love Gotham Central. I had the trades and I gave them to my friend Simon Rodriguez before he passed away. And then I bought the omnibus. It may be my favorite Batman collected omnibus. It just may be. I mean, year one is my favorite story, but dang, it's right. And then Long Halloween is great, but man, yeah, Gotham Central, home run. So let's talk about what the Jack Reacher universe is. It's a series of novels. There are well over 20 of them. I want to say they're nearing to 30 now that Lee Child is the pen name of the author, and his brother has taken over to kind of write with him. And the brother has been doing the last, I think, 5 or so novels. They tried very unsuccessfully, in my opinion. Sorry. to launch a series of movies based on the books. But the problem they ran across was the actor they cast didn't match the Jack Reacher in the novels. And that was Tom Cruise. Why did he not match? Because the character of Jack Reacher is a former military police officer, and he has an incredibly massive physique. He is, I think they say in the books, well over 6'5", incredibly just like all ripped muscle, and just a wall, just a human being in the shape of a wall. That's not Tom Cruise. He's incredibly great, in good shape, and can fight and do stunts and such, but he's a tiny individual by comparison. And I think part of the reason those movies didn't work is that they were ultimately Tom Cruise vehicles and not Jack Reacher stories. They're not horrible movies, and I want to just say that really quickly. They're not bad. I rewatched both of them in the last like 2 weeks. They're not horrible, but they're not good. They're just mediocre. Okay, so I guess Tom loves the books, which is no shock. They're just really adrenaline-filled, high-intensity stories. So I don't, shame him at all. And he did his best to kind of capture it, but it didn't work. And now they have this TV series starring Alan Ritchson, who some people knew on Smallville, where he played Aquaman. Some people have seen him in other movies. I know he's in Fast X or Fast 10. I know that he also was, whether you know it or not, he was in a singer on American Idol. People don't watch that show. They may not know this, but Alan Ritchson first kind of came into popularity because he was this young, tall, handsome kid singing sexy songs and showing his abs to Paula Abdul. That's kind of like where Alan Ritchson started his career, and that segued in. He wasn't a great singer, but he's not a bad singer. He wasn't obviously going to win American Idol, but he had a lot of skill. And he went from there to Smallville and movies and shows and things until obviously he bulked up in an insane way to become Jack Reacher. He's a tall gentleman. He's like 6'3". He's not outside the norm, but definitely tall. But where he fits the part is he put on many, many, many pounds of muscle, and he looks like somebody pumped up Chris Hemsworth bigger, is what he looks like, which is saying something. So very well cast actor, and he's been doing a very good job. Very good job. Gore Vidal in the chat. What's up, Gore? He says, FYI, Daredevil Born Again Gallery Edition is to be released at the end of this month. I will look for it. I have the trade, I have the issues, and I have the omnibus. It's 2 omnibuses. So I don't know if I'll buy it, but it's good to know that it's getting some love. He's tall for an actor, which I respect, right? So if you don't know what he looks like, I'll give you a quick glimpse. I think his bicep is bigger than my head. It's massive. And now they've released 2 seasons of the show. Season 1 followed the original novel, Killing Floor, and really did a good job adapting it. I think the acting on that season was not as good as this season. I think the actors they cast were a little soap opera-y and not as quality as they got this season. Season 2, they adapted my second favorite novel in the series, Bad Luck and Trouble, which I think I even got in a great conversation with JP at one point talking about the series, and I was telling him how much I love that book, and he was like, I think I remember that one. But yeah, they did a great job adapting that novel. And they're not necessarily going in order, which I like. They're kind of skipping around to the better novels. So I'm going to share with you the main website they've got. Not even close. Not even close. Yes, he was in one of the Hunger Games films. I forgot to mention that. He's done a fair amount of like cameo, small parts and things. But obviously, this is his real big break, and he is capitalizing on it beautifully. So let's share this. Maybe make it a little bigger. How does that? Nope, that's not the one I wanted. Try it this way. Nope, try it that way. Try it that way. Yeah, let's make me smaller. So I figured it out eventually. This is from the website, and this is no joke, jackreacher.com, which is owned by the publisher for these novels and gives you the chance to kind of scroll through all the books. So if you want to find a way into reading some of this stuff, it might be worth taking your time. What is up, Kevin from Entropy and Comics? Kev, you've been so busy on the YouTubes lately, man. It's good to see you, sir. I'm happy to see you around the community so much. So the books on this page are in publishing order. I mentioned, I think at the beginning of the show, that there are 3 different ways to kind of dive into the Reacherverse. You can read the books in publisher order. You can read them in chronological order, where you put them, in the time in which the stories take place. Or you just read them the way you want to read them, because it doesn't matter. They're all good. I haven't read any of them through Audible. I would love to know, Vic, if that's I don't even know that I know who reads them. If there's a really talented person who does the readings, if anybody knows, I'll try to see if I can find out here in the next couple seconds. Jack Reacher Audible books. Let's see what they got here. I'm going to jump over to Audible. Read by Dick Hill or Jeff Harding. Looks like Jeff Harding did a bunch of them. Jonathan McLean does one. I don't know any of these people. If people know who these gentlemen are, yeah, those are the only names I see so far. Jeff Harding, Dick Hill, or what was the other one I saw? Jonathan McLean. Looks like he only did 1 or 2. But again, there's a lot of them, so I wouldn't be surprised that there's a little variety to it. What is up, Sean? Hope you're doing well. Hope your Saturday's going well, man. Saturday afternoon there, your time. So let's scroll down to the first 4 books on this website here. Obviously, I'm going to say the first book you should read is The Killing Floor. It's my personal favorite. It's the first book in the series. It's the first season of the show. If you want to just get in on the ground floor, book number 1, I think, is the way to go. I just think it's a great introduction. Chronologically, it is not the first book, because several of the novels are flashback stories that show us what Reacher was like when he was a military police officer commanding a unit of investigators and the crimes that they were uncovering, and kind of how, one of the books covers like how his career like came to an end, because he just is not somebody that blindly follows rules, and that's going to lead to some challenges in the military. So I recommend Killing Floor. If you are a brand new reader, I'm a big fan of that as the first book, and it made for a really great first season of the show. Right next to it is Die Trying. And JP, I don't know how your thoughts on this. That's the one I hope they adapt next. I really hope they do. And here's the plot. It's the one when he's in Chicago, and he's I think he's going into, I can't remember what he's buying. He a new toothbrush, probably, knowing him. And he comes back out of the store, and he sees a woman struggling with her crutches to get into some vehicle or do something, and he decides to help her. And in that moment, the both of them get kidnapped, because the kidnappers were trying to catch her, and he just was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they get both of them, and they're thrown into the back of a vehicle. And the rest of the story is in and around him trying to help this woman and unravel the sort of conspiracy that she's stuck inside of. It doesn't connect to his past. It's a very solo, standalone, story. And you tend to have the 2 different kinds of books in this series. The ones that are connected to a bigger mythology, the backstory of who Jack Reacher is and his life, and then the standalone solo Mystery of the Week books. And they're both great options, depending on what you want to get out of it. I think Die Trying is one of my favorite of the book of the month, stories where they're not connecting to an overall bigger narrative. So Die Trying is a really good one, and I'm hopeful that they adapt it soon. That's one of the ones I really, really wanted to mention. So Die Trying is the second published novel. I'm going to jump to, let's see here. I'm going to scroll down a little because I think the next row has a couple that I really like. Yeah. So this row may be my favorite total set. I like all four of these a ton. And like JP is saying, I've read all of them. I stopped when he passed the books on to his brother. Lee Child is the pen name for the author. I think his last name is Lee. I can't remember what his first name is. And now his brother is writing it. They both, I think, come up with the stories, but his younger brother writes the books. I stopped at that point, and I'm fine with it. But I've read everything up to there, for sure. Killing Floor is the best place to start. Okay. Jonathan McLean reads the novels while it's off the Craig, you're not here. Come on. You're not supposed to be here. Get out of here. Die Trying is solid. Okay. When someone tries to kidnap you, it's better to collapse and become dead weight. I mean, if you're Jack Reacher, they're not going to be able to carry you. So you're probably good. Let's talk about this set of four. So Without Fail, I really, really like. And it's another one of those like standalone stories. This one has to do with somebody needing Reacher's help because there's been a threat against the vice president that a sniper is going to try to take him out. And the threat is connected to Reacher in some way. And so they ask him to come in and give guidance on how they can better protect the VP and catch this person before they strike. But a ton of plot twists, a ton of things happening, really, really entertaining. But best of all in this row is the far one. It's called Enemy. This is one that is exclusively Reacher as an MP and covering one of the cases that really darkened his entire time in the military. It's a great throwback, flashback story. Really, really love it. And if you want chronologically to read these books, that would be a good starting place because you get the younger Reacher still full of, vinegar and just, a dogged investigator with his team. So really, really great. My brother loves Persuader, and I do really like it. There's a murder, and a Persuader, by the way, is a kind of shotgun that comes up in a big way here. There's like drug dealings. This is a very solo Reacher story where he gets pulled into a conspiracy, like always, and kind of what happens, what happens to him inside of this situation. Very good, like edge of your seat, grabbing the armchair, the armrests of your chair. So I really, really like it. I don't remember Echo Burning. I'm going to try to remind myself what that one was. Okay, yeah. I think a woman picks up Reacher hitchhiking wise, and he learns about the situation she's in and decides to help her. But what starts as like a little problem in her life clearly is connected to something much bigger, and then he's wrapped into her life. So I guess it's a lot of standalones, except for the far one here. But these are all really great ones. You can easily dive into. Let's see here. I've got some of them on my phone here so I can remind myself of the plot for some of these because the titles don't always remind me of what happened in the story. Let's see here. I need to get to end end of his books for sure. They're also good. It's hard to rank them. It's true. I mean, there's never been there's very few times when I read one and was like, it was okay. I usually read them in a weekend. They read incredibly fast. You don't even notice it. You're like, wow, I'm already halfway through this book. I need to go eat lunch now. They're very fast paced, very entertaining, very violent. So, if you want, comic book fans would probably be right into it. And this happens to me too, which is why I needed to remind myself of some of these. And I don't know, JP, if you have a book that you hope they adapt next, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I do feel like they need to do a standalone because they can't keep bringing in his old team because they don't appear in that many books. So you're going to run out of all the best flashback ones if we keep going that route. It was nice to do Bad Luck and Trouble, but now I think they need to get to the standalone ones, the really good ones that are separated from that. Let's talk about Running Blind, which is another one I think they could do, JP, that I think would be great. And maybe it's on the next. Nope. Here's Bad Luck and Trouble. And on this row, you actually get the two that they made the movies with Tom Cruise. He did One Shot, which they just called Jack Reacher. That was the Jack Reacher movie that Tom Cruise did. And then he did Nothing to Lose, the far one on the other side there, which were fine. I don't think they were either one like my favorite Reacher books. It was interesting choices. I think they're just maybe better self-contained in some way. But for me, yeah, Bad Luck and Trouble on this row is a home run. And that's the one I would pick from this row as my favorite. I got to go to page 2. There's 3 pages. Look, there's so many books. Each page holds 12. So what that means, they're on at least 25 or more. Yeah, there's a set of these, and I don't know if you remember JP. I know he's read a bunch of these that connect, not because it's like a trilogy, but because like in the story, Reacher via the phone connects to the woman who is running his unit now and promises her that at some point he's going to make his way to Virginia and meet her in person. And so that book ends with him saying, "I'm going to catch the bus towards Virginia." The next book has that bus ride getting interrupted. And then he gets injured and he's like getting back on a bus and on the way to the next place. And then something really crazy happens in the third book until he finally makes it to meet this woman in Virginia. I think it's Virginia. It's not Quantico. Okay, The Affair. Where's the one I wanted? Running Blind. Did I skip Running Blind already? Okay, because I'm into the ones towards the end of Lee Child's run where his brother took over. Let's see how many we've got total so far. I didn't click on that. Let me try again. There we go. It's loading. Yeah, so here's where it says Lee Child and Andrew Child. And that leaves us with 27 books and then 3 that are like short stories. Okay, so there's 27 novels total. And I will say I have not read any of these. Better Off Dead, No Plan B, and The Sentinel. So I think I must have left the one I wanted to talk about on the first page. Let's go to the top here. Sorry if I hope this is not making anybody nauseous. Running Blind is there. It's on the far end. Okay. So the other book that I hope they adapt is on the far end. I never met her. That was the next book that I didn't get to. Gotcha. All right. Hardway was one of my favorite moments, but Hardway has one of my favorite moments, but it is I think he means isn't one of the best books. Running Blind was back on the first row. There you go. Okay. So the 2 that I hope they adapt next would be Die Trying or Running Blind. Running Blind has to do with a murderer, and they are it's sort of more like a serial killer story where somebody is killing off these female officers in the military or former officers, and then like submerging their bodies in green paint, like olive green army color paint. And Reacher's connected to one of these ladies. And so when he gets questioned about it, he feels like it's his obligation to solve the crime. So it's a murder mystery book. And he's working with the investigators, sometimes because they want him to, sometimes because they can't get him to leave them alone. But those 2, I'm very hopeful, become the basis for the next film or season of the Reacher show. I think they would both really work. And I think personally for me are my favorites. Crucis says, I'm commenting. to break JP's comment streak. Here's the simple truth, brother. When JP and I start talking about something we both have a lot of interest in, you can't shut us up. You can't. We just keep going, man. We just keep going. I have two brothers, but I swear I'm probably closer related to JP than either of my actual brothers. It's like JP and I have all the same interests. Now that he's playing Dungeons and Dragons, I think we completed the loop. And there's no the Venn diagram of the things that JP and I both like is an almost perfect circle, except I think he has football on the far side of his. And I don't know what I've got. Maybe JP can help me figure out what's on the far side of mine. Maybe it's musical theater. Is it musical theater, JP? I've got musical theater on mine, and you've got football on yours. Maybe that's the only spot of the Venn diagram that does not overlap. JP is big like Jack, and he's big like me. I think JP and I are almost the same height. I've got a little bit more hair still, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Yeah, it's all right there. Your lack of sports interest does not match. Exactly. Right. Surf is it surfing? I mean, I doubt it, but it could be. Yeah. So yeah, he is my brother JP. So anyways, that's the Reacher books. If you're looking to get into that world, if you're looking to read some of these things, I think this top row here is where I would start. And I think there's a lot of good stories, especially in the first like 10 books. There's no bad choices. You could pick and choose and get something entertaining from any one of them. Your local library will have all of them. In fact, if they're like my libraries, they even have the used bookstore out front, right? You can get books for 50 cents. I would be willing to bet they'd have a handful of these for sure. You may not be able to find The Killing Floor since it's, the first book, and, maybe people hold on to that one out of nostalgia more, but the library inside will have it. It's just, they're just really entertaining and some really fun. If you want some good, action, excitement, violence, stuff, it's worth your time. As far as the show goes, obviously superior to the Tom Cruise movies. And I would say I think I liked the second season better just because of the quality of the actors. And I think they clearly upped their budget. I think they clearly had a bigger budget to play with. I think also that Alan Ritchson is like getting the character better each time I see him play it. It seems like he's getting it. So I'm just excited to see this series of books. Like I said, 27 full novels get their their day on the screen. I think it's kind of cool to see that that character is getting to shine a little bit. And the interesting thing about the books too is some of them are third person narratives, meaning, it's Jack did this and he did this. And a few of them are first person narrative where you're really in Jack's head and you're getting to understand how he thinks and what he's trying to accomplish. So it's interesting the way, I don't know a lot of novel series like that toggle between first and third narratives. It's kind of interesting that that's one of the ones that does it. So there it is. It's fine. And I would say I feel similarly about sports, but mostly football. It's fine. I don't want to watch it. It's kind of where I'm at. Scott, student of comics, what's going on? Happy Saturday, my man. Talking about literature. Yeah. Fine, violent, graphic literature. Die Trying has a great moment when he has to prove to the kidnappers he really is who he says he is. I love the moments when you see him outsmarting people because they, see him as a big lughead. And yeah, Damien, the sleepy reader. What is going on, Mr. Sir? Happy Saturday. Have a great time. Enjoy your Reacher, and we'll catch you again soon, Steve. I'm about to wrap this up anyways. I've been going a little longer than I wanted. I'm on again later tonight. I'm doing a live stream where I had promised to do this live stream last summer. My goal is to read an omnibus, make a bunch of shorts and reels and videos about it, and then do a live stream inviting some friends who've been debating the books with me on to talk about them. I'm 0 for 2. I'm 0 for 2. I've done 2 omnis I read through 2 full omnibus in the second half of 2023, and I did not do a single live stream about it. So I owe some live streams. Tonight at 7 my time, 10 Eastern, we're going to do a live stream discussing Grant Morrison's New X-Men, which I read over summer. I think I finished it in June. So it'll be, I bought it in June. I must have finished in July. It's going to be a chance to have a few friends on and people who've read it, people who love it, people who read it for the first time or have read it when it originally came out. We're going to be talking, it'll probably be an hour tonight, discussing covers, story arcs, characters, Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely, and just kind of the legacy that they left on the X-Men universe. I'm going to do another one of these for Immortal Hulk, hopefully in February, just so that I stay current with kind of what I'm reading. I also have hoped to do one on Deadly Class, which I finished. And apparently I got signed up by Bearded Comic Bro to do another Lost live stream at some point. So I try to space those out, so I'm not doing it every Friday or Saturday, but every so often over the next few months, I'll be trying to throw some of those in. I'm also working on getting Gore on a show to talk about filmmaker Richard Linklater. Sorry, my cat allergies are hitting me. But I know his schedule is challenging and my schedule is challenging, so we're always trying to match that up because we want to make sure we have enough time to really get into what is arguably one of the best modern filmmakers, Richard Linklater. So that's going to happen too. So tonight is New X-Men, and then hopefully not too long down the road into February, you'll start hearing about Immortal Hulk, and then eventually some others as well. Dope Comics. I read the first arc of this PKJ Incredible Hulk, and now I'm, I think, doing it digitally from here on out, but it's been very good. And some of the artwork, just phenomenal, just really, really great. But I'm going to wrap this up, and I'll be back later tonight. I'll probably be in and out of the chats as well, so I hope to see you all there for some of that stuff. I hope everybody has a great weekend, doesn't suffer too much from really dramatically cold weather like people are having most places in the world. And see you guys all in the chat.